Consideration items for future meetings?
I actually do have one
Oh.
that I've been kicking
Don't
around
say
for a
sorry.
while. And Kylie doesn't have to come, but if she could give us another update, I think the last update we had on the, oh God, now the name escapes me.
Blended learning.
Blended learning,
It's
thank you.
scheduled for like January or February.
Oh, it is, so it's coming up.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And I have one. I would like to look at school consolidation as an issue. I can do a little work and send it to Wes, and he can look at that. When I went to some of the West Cook meetings, other people at the West Cook meeting said there's a consultant who does like a mock model. They look at the different contracts, they look at money, they look at the need of the district. And just as if you're doing a drawing, it gives you an idea whether or not you think it's going to do what you thought it might or might not. And so while I keep thinking that a consolidated district where you have a single high school with several districts feeding up into it seems like a good idea, it may or may not be.
Yeah, I think, when I first, a few years back, I got on, I talked to particularly Gary about it, and it got complicated really fast. In that all the districts, all the constituents of a number of the districts don't come into the high school. So District 96, all the students come in, but not 94, because then there's tax dollars, and it's almost like it's designed like that on purpose to make it real complicated to split up. Because you got all this tax revenue that comes here that doesn't go there.
Well-
Like, we wouldn't want to give up,
Yeah.
North Riverside, because we wouldn't want to do that. But North Riverside doesn't want to give up part of their section
some feed
as
into
well.
Proviso.
Right.
They
They
all
would,
don't. They
they
all
don't want to
come
give
in.
up
Sure.
proviso portion because of that tax revenue,
Part,
right?
yeah.
So it gets
I mean,
really
when
complicated.
it is, I mean, right, I don't know, was it Blagojevich or Quinn, right, put it forth as a possible, I think it was Quinn, right?
Quinn.
As a,
Quinn had
and
done
got a lot of pushback. I mean, I think part of the reason why the area is the way, it's historic, right? It's just, because if you look at, say, Florida, they're all county schools, right? And so you've got 400 schools in a district, right? So, I mean, the models are different depending on where you look in the United
It's very
States.
different, yeah.
I mean, to Laura's point of, just because that's the way we have always done it, is that the best way to do it? No. Exploring, there's nothing that hurts for exploring it, but I absolutely would agree that it's hugely complicated.
You know,
But I
there's,
would
I would say
absolutely agree with
before-
that I'm all for it, and I would love to figure out how to consolidate it. I don't know, I think.
I mean, some of the things that you look at, so if we look at our tax bill, we have money from the different feeder schools, whereas your consolidated district, any kind of building or anything then is covered by the whole district, and you can negotiate better prices and things like that. You could also look at, you have 2 junior highs, maybe one might focus on science, one on the arts or liberal arts, or if you have population where the population's higher in Brookfield than in Riverside or vice versa, you can switch around. I've heard we don't have busing. Well, we do have busing in Brookfield. So, there are ways to share resources, or there's also movement for teachers. If teacher says, this building just doesn't work for me, there's other buildings, or there's more movement. Social worker, specialists, that gives them, I can take 2 buildings. A tiny district might not have enough to support one reading specialist or some other specialist, but if they're in a district, maybe we could have some different things. So maybe we're too small where it benefits us, where Evanston was huge, Downers Grove, some of these other places are bigger and it benefited them well. Maybe we are not big enough, or maybe we are, we don't know, but just to kind of look at it, I think
before the district
Questions?
spends any resources, I think the first step that needs to occur is, I think Laura can bring back some reports or some information to the board. And then what I would recommend the second step be, if the board reads it and a majority of the board thinks we should look into consolidation, the second step, the crucial step, is you need to go to each feeder school board because 7 of you might all say, hey, consolidation is great. If those elected boards, their the administration ultimately works for the board. So you would need to poll those 3 boards and say, yeah, we want this, or yeah, we'd be interested in, sharing a consultant or getting a consultant to come in and do this, because it doesn't do us any good if we do it and District 96 is like, no, we have no intentions of wanting to consolidate, or
dead in the
95 says it, right? Because then that doesn't.
It's dead in the water.
Because there's so many steps that would need to occur. Before you even do that and get everybody spun up, you want to make sure the other boards are on board. Because I know there's something similar like that going on in a different region right now, but, it's kind of created some animosity. And so I would just say, make sure all the other boards, that would be like step number 2 after we educate ourselves, and if this board wants to pursue that, the second step would be getting the other boards on board.
You
So
get
that-
different teacher union contracts that can be affected, which.
Well, that's the other issue, is that the high school,
your board stands.
Yeah.
the high school contract is significantly a higher pay scale than the elementary pay scale. So,
Any
so then there's,
elementary teacher.
but that would go into like step 3 or 4 where, so step 2 is getting all the feeder schools, right? Then step 3 would be finding a consultant, and that consultant would probably identify like, hey, with all the different teacher contracts, administrative contracts, you're looking at 5-year, you're looking at these upfront costs. Is it really worth it? And that's, but before you even got into that, I would say, if this board gets to a majority where they say, let's pursue it, the second step is you gotta make sure the other boards are wanting to sit down and do this. Because it could cause some animosity.
Yeah, and what's well, you stated some good goals, we don't need to restate.
I mean,
those.
yeah,
There's
you
some
have,
good-
curriculum,
good outcomes.
curriculum from up to
Absolutely. Yeah, there
down,
are
you
some-
have
there are some good outcomes and some good
there are
reasons.
some things that
There's a lot
could
of
be very
reasons to do it.
positive, yeah.
But it gets complicated fast.
So are we putting it on as an agenda item, or that's something you're gonna gather information and report back to the board on?
So it's under consideration for future meetings, and so that would be, as soon as I can get you some things waxed,
Yeah.
then if you think it's enough, to then put it on the agenda. But-
Okay, so
that-
hold off till you get back to us.
Yes.
with info.
So at least that's something that,
And then we can research some more, right? Talk about it, and we'll come back and have another discussion about it.
bring up more and think about it.
Because I think we're all on the same page, we just don't really know how to go about it. Right? So, all right, that brings us to closed session.
Okay. The Board of Education, Township High School, District 208, Cook County, Illinois, enters closed session for the purpose of considering appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, student discipline, purchase, sale, or lease of real property, probable imminent or pending litigation, collective negotiations, and school safety.
Second.
Second by Ms.
Ms.
Salas.
Ms. Sierra? Yes. Ms. Towner?
Yes.
Mrs. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
And Mr.
Yes. Go, get the gavel in.